Conservative MP for Godalming and Ash, former Chancellor of the Exchequer himself, Sir Jeremy Hunt, joins me now. If you were filing a sketch, a review, what would you say from yesterday's performance? Sir Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning to you, Nick. It's a pleasure to be with you as ever. Let me say that I'm a lot more relaxed talking to you than I was as Chancellor. And there is a side to me that actually feels for Rachel Reeves, because you're not in total control of events. You have these forecasts that are done completely independently by the Office for Budget Responsibility. And she only found out what they finally are going to be on Friday. So, I'm not going to be one who joins in the personal criticism. But if I was going to be, a backseat driver and give her advice, I would say what the country wants is not excuses that gets Labour out of a political hole, why they're coming back for more, having told us they wouldn't, etc., but a long-term plan for the economy. And I think what she needs to do is the right things that give us confidence that, a year in, Labour actually has got a plan to grow the economy. And I do think that's been missing, and I think that's what we want to see.
What links Vladimir Putin, COVID, Liz Truss, Kwasi Kwarteng, Sir Jeremy Hunt, the Ukraine, is, of course, all your financial mismanagement? Nothing to do with her. How fair is that in your view, Sir Jeremy?
Well, obviously I would say this, but I think that's totally ridiculous. The Liz Truss mini-budget, let's take that one to begin with, that was a mistake. But the mistakes were reversed by me within 2 weeks. And there was no long-term economic damage. There was a huge amount of political damage. It was one of the reasons we got hammered at the election last year. But in one way, she is right. The reason the economy has underperformed is because we've had these big shocks, the global financial crisis, the invasion of Ukraine, COVID, and so on. And I think everyone knows that. And that's what we need. That's why we need to see a plan. And I think my big problem with the approach Labour is taking is that I think if you look around the world, the fastest growing economies are in Asia and North America, where they're bringing down taxes. Taxes are lower. And the slow coaches, the slow growing parts of the world, are in Europe, where we have higher taxes. And so that is why I think, if you continually say the solution to the problem is to raise taxes, the risk you have is that you're going to choke off growth.
But, Sir Jeremy, John Crace in The Guardian is right. We can't have it both ways. We can't be having, the fastest growing economy in the G7, borrowing costs are down, and yet still be headed for financial hell in a handcart or financial Armageddon. You can't have it both ways, Jeremy.
You can't, and I would never be one to dare to have it both ways, being interviewed by you, Nick. So what is going on? The government's got a big fiscal problem. That's economists speak.
Yes.
They've got a problem that the numbers don't add up. The tax receipts aren't enough to cover what they want to spend on public services. But the fundamentals of the economy are actually pretty good. We have, the largest tech sector in Europe, the best universities in Europe. We have big strengths in innovation industries. London is Europe's most dynamic business city. So we've got lots of good fundamentals. But if you're going to deal with the problem in public finances, all I would say is that choking off growth by continually raising taxes is not the right way to go. What we should be doing is looking at where we're spending money wastefully. And the big example of that is the welfare state. Why are we putting 5,000 people every day onto disability benefits? Why are we signing off 1,000 people every day saying, not just you don't have to work, you don't even have to look for work? With an aging population, we need to get more people into work, instead of which we're signing them off work. That is costing us a fortune.
Lastly, noting it's not that long ago that you were in post, would you have supported, as Chancellor of the Exchequer, would you have gone along with this sort of budgetary address? Did you see any merit in it, having listened or watched it for the 20 minutes and then the press conference following?
I'm not against chancellors taking time to make the big arguments that they want to make, because I think that it's, what happens on budget day is everyone wants to talk about, what's happened to income tax, what's happened to national insurance, and it's harder to make a bigger argument. But I think what people need from Rachel Reeves, if I may say, is a plan. Not just it's all terrible, but this is what we're going to do about it. And that's what I personally would like to hear more of.
Grateful as ever for your time. Thank you. Sir Jeremy Hunt, Conservative MP for Godalming and Ash, and of course, former Chancellor of the Exchequer as recently as 2024.